I want to be royalty. I want to have power. So I'm learning about all of the monarchs in England, throughout history. It's the conquerors and the ones that inherited all of their wealth and glory. I guess I plan to do both. King William IV. He reigned from 1830 to 1837. He was the brother of King George IV. He was the uncle to Victoria, who later became the famous Queen Victoria. His daddy was King George III, the mad King George III, who reigned during the American Revolution. During William's reign, there were many reforms, such as the 1832 Reform Act. This act put an end to the so-called rotten boroughs. These were boroughs with small electorates that were dominated by a wealthy patron. Thus, by abolishing these rotten boroughs, the middle classes were better represented. And goodness, when he died, he was survived by 8 children, but absolutely none of these children were legitimate. And so the throne was given to William's niece, Victoria. Queen Victoria. She reigned as Queen of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland from 1837 to 1901. Her 63-year reign was known as the Victorian Era. Makes sense. Queen Victoria, Victorian Era. She had German roots. She succeeded her uncle, William IV, inheriting the throne in her late teens. Her father was Edward, Duke of Kent, and her mother was Victoria of Saxe-Coburg. She was subjected to the Kensington system under her mother and comptroller John Conroy, who she basically detested because he was very strict. Didn't really get along too well with her mother either. She ended up marrying her first cousin, Albert, of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha. They had 9 children together, despite Victoria not exactly being a baby person. She referred to them as frogs or something. She really wasn't into it. And yet, she had 9 children. Victoria was generally popular, but that didn't mean that there weren't several disgruntled Englishmen standing by trying to take her out by assassination. After her beloved husband Albert died, she basically mourned the next 40 years of her reign, always wearing black and staying out of the public eye. She was actually pretty unpopular during the first years of her widowhood, but she regained popularity in the 1880s and the 1890s. Regarded as a matriarchal figure, she was the grandmother of Europe, with 42 grandchildren, 34 who survived to adulthood. Victoria and her husband Albert were responsible for the flourishing of industry and science and politics and military change, and they helped to greatly expand the British Empire. In 1776, Victoria was granted the title of Empress of India by the British Parliament. She was a national icon, known for placing emphasis on morality and family values. This was in stark contrast to the scandalous earlier House of Hanover reigns. The monarchy under Victoria became more symbolic than political. Victoria was the last British monarch of the House of Hanover. She was succeeded by her son, Edward VII, who she basically accused of killing her husband because he was such a wild child, in his younger days. She claimed that the stress got to her husband. Anyway, whatever. But she was succeeded by her son, Edward VII of the House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha.